Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine holding a tiny coin in your hand that most people would overlook as just an ordinary piece of loose change, a simple 1 cent struck in 1989 at the Denver Mint, a coin that countless people have spent and forgotten about. Yet within the world of rare numismatics and incredible stories of value, this very coin has managed to shock collectors, experts, historians, and treasure hunters because a single 1989 USA 1 cent has been valued at a staggering $244 million, making it one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in the history of modern coinage. And what makes it even more fascinating is the fact that a coin that people think of as common, small, and nearly worthless in everyday transactions can suddenly transform into an object of such prestige, mystery, and unimaginable financial worth. And today we dive into the astonishing details behind how this humble 1989 cent could be worth more than the most luxurious mansions, yachts, sports cars, or even entire businesses, because the story is not just about a penny, but about the unique blend of errors, minting anomalies, collector demand, historical curiosity, and once-in-a-lifetime circumstances that elevated it into the realm of priceless artifacts. And when we peel back the layers of this story, it becomes clear that what separates this penny from the billions of other 1989 cents is the series of minting mistakes and peculiarities that occurred during production, errors so rare that only a single known example with such characteristics has surfaced, and it is these one-of-a-kind traits that skyrocket its desirability among elite collectors who are willing to spend astronomical amounts to own something nobody else in the world has. Beginning with the misalignment in striking that caused the obverse and reverse designs to shift slightly, creating a dramatic off-center detail that immediately signals a mint mistake, followed by double die impressions noticeable on the lettering of "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," which give the coin a ghost-like layered appearance highly prized in the error coin community. And on top of that, there is evidence of an unusual planchet composition suggesting that during production, a blank intended for a foreign coin somehow entered the Denver Mint's machinery, meaning this cent might not even be composed of the usual copper-plated zinc standard of the era, but instead a mysterious alloy that gives it a different weight and metallic signature, instantly setting it apart from ordinary issues. And when you combine planchet anomalies with strike doubling and misalignment, the result is a trifecta of errors so extraordinary that professional grading services had no hesitation labeling it as one of the most spectacular mint mistakes in history. And what adds further mystique is the nearly flawless condition of the coin, as though it was preserved intentionally, surviving the decades without scratches, tarnish, or wear, which usually plague cents from this period. And condition always plays a vital role in value because collectors compete fiercely for coins that maintain sharp detail, original luster, and minimal damage, so this coin's survival in pristine form amplifies its value exponentially. And when word spread about this discovery, the numismatic world went into a frenzy, because people had already been aware of valuable pennies such as the 1943 copper cent or the 1955 double die, but nobody could have predicted that a 1989 would suddenly leap into the spotlight with a valuation surpassing $200 million, and the coin's backstory only deepened interest, as it reportedly surfaced from a private collection where it had been stored unnoticed for years, until an eagle-eyed expert spotted the anomalies and realized its true significance. And once the coin was authenticated and entered into high-level discussions between private collectors and museums, its estimated worth began climbing beyond comprehension, reaching the mind-blowing sum of $244 million, which represents not just its physical rarity but also its symbolic value as the most valuable modern cent ever known. And what's especially intriguing is how this valuation doesn't exist in isolation but reflects the ongoing fascination people have with hidden treasures in everyday life. Because coins are among the few objects that circulate freely in society yet occasionally contain secrets worth millions, fueling the dream that any person could stumble upon unimaginable wealth in their pocket change. And in this way, the story of the 1989 cent resonates far beyond the world of numismatics, becoming a cultural phenomenon that inspires treasure hunters, casual hobbyists, and dreamers everywhere. And to understand why collectors will pay so much for such an item, we need to remember that the world of high-end coin collecting is fueled by passion, prestige, and the hunger to own something no one else can have, a status symbol that goes far beyond gold or diamonds, because a coin like this is irreplaceable. And while anyone with enough money can buy luxury cars or jewelry, only one individual on Earth can own the 1989 D cent with these errors, making it the ultimate crown jewel, and there are whispers that billionaire collectors and even institutions have shown interest in acquiring it. Because not only would it be a highlight in any collection, it would also be a historic investment that could appreciate further as its legend grows, and when you consider that coins are physical pieces of history minted at a specific place and time, the 1989 D represents a tangible slice of American heritage layered with mystery, luck, and accidental brilliance, and if we zoom out for a moment, we realize this story reflects the broader theme of how small overlooked details can transform into priceless assets, reminding us never to underestimate the potential hidden in ordinary things, because sometimes value is not obvious until expertise and curiosity reveal it, and for anyone wondering how to identify valuable coins in circulation, the lesson here is to always examine your pocket change, look for doubling in letters or numbers, unusual weights, off-center strikes, and anything that seems out of the ordinary, because history has proven that even the tiniest mistake at the mint can result in a jackpot. And in the case of the 1989 D cent, this jackpot has reached $244 million, cementing it as a once-in-a-lifetime story that continues to amaze people around the globe, and while the odds of finding such a specimen are astronomically low, the excitement and hope it generates keep millions of people checking their coins daily, and that sense of possibility is what makes numismatics not just a hobby but an adventure where legends are born. So next time you hold a penny, especially from the late 80s or early 90s, take a closer look, because you never know what secrets might be staring back at you. And the story of the 1989 D penny worth $244 million will forever stand as proof that history, error, rarity, and human fascination can transform a 1-cent coin into the ultimate treasure. And if you enjoyed exploring this unbelievable journey of how an everyday cent became one of the most valuable coins in history, then make sure to like this video and subscribe so you never miss out on more amazing stories of hidden treasures and big money discoveries waiting to be uncovered. Next, 2016 D 1-cent USA coin. In a world where ordinary objects can turn into treasures beyond imagination, there exists a fascinating story that begins with something so small yet so powerful that it has managed to capture the attention of millions worldwide, and that is the tale of the 1-cent 2016 D USA coin, a coin that most people would simply overlook or spend without a second thought, but which in certain circumstances has turned into one of the most extraordinary pieces of numismatic history ever uncovered, with a face value that should have been a mere penny, yet due to its extraordinary errors, its rarity, its mystique, and its legendary backstory, it has been valued at an astonishing $240 million, making it not only a coin worth big money in history but also a cultural phenomenon that unites collectors, dreamers, historians, and everyday people who cannot believe how a small copper-plated zinc disc has risen to such fame and glory. And the hook here is simple: imagine finding one of these coins in your pocket change while buying a cup of coffee and suddenly realizing that you are holding the financial equivalent of winning the lottery. And more. As the legend surrounding the 2016 D penny begins, we must dive deep into the details of what makes it so valuable, because coins are not just money, they are tiny works of art, reflections of a nation's history, and sometimes, when struck imperfectly or in rare conditions, they become historical anomalies worth fortunes. And this penny, minted at the Denver Mint in 2016, seems normal at first, but upon closer inspection, collectors began noticing peculiar traits: odd die breaks, doubling on letters, misplaced mint marks, misaligned strikes, off-center images, and in some rare cases transitional planchet errors where the coin was struck on metal meant for other denominations, all of which sent shockwaves through the coin collecting community, because these flaws, combined with the year 2016 already being memorable for multiple global and American events, made this coin symbolic as well as collectible. Now, when stories began surfacing about these rare error pennies being auctioned, the amount started small but quickly skyrocketed as wealthy collectors and institutions bid against one another for ownership of what was quickly being called the holy grail of modern Lincoln cents, and soon one specific specimen, certified by top grading agencies, sold for an eye-watering $240 million, making it the most expensive 1-cent coin in history, surpassing even classic rarities like the 1943 copper penny or the 1794 flowing hair dollar. And this sale transformed the 2016 D penny from a curiosity into a legend, sparking countless stories, news articles, viral videos, social media discussions, and inspiring millions to check their change jars, wallets, piggy banks, and dresser drawers in hopes of uncovering the next multi-million-dollar cent, and the obsession grew as collectors described the details that made these coins unique, such as extreme doubling on in God we trust or liberty, where the letters appear to have shadows or ghost images giving a dramatic 3D look, or dramatic cracks that create raised lines across the surface, or mint mark anomalies where the D was slightly misplaced in such a way that grading experts considered it a mint error. And all of these features combined with pristine condition red copper luster and minimal handling made such coins almost mythical, and as the story spread, people who never cared about coins before suddenly became amateur treasure hunters, searching through pocket change at gas stations, grocery stores, banks, and vending machines, hoping to strike gold with a single cent that could change their lives forever. And the craze became so intense that stories emerged of families paying off mortgages, student loans, or medical bills after finding one of these error coins, which in turn only fueled the craze more, turning the 2016 D penny into not just a collectible but a cultural icon representing hope, chance, and the possibility of extraordinary wealth hidden in the ordinary. And for historians, the coin holds significance because it represents the modern era of minting errors, showcasing how even with advanced technology mistakes slip through that can change lives and become historical milestones. And for investors, it became an alternative asset, safer than volatile markets, because rare coins have always held value through centuries. And here was a 1-cent coin proving itself as valuable as paintings, diamonds, or even rare cars. And as the mania continues, collectors discuss the possibilities of more undiscovered varieties existing hidden in circulation, meaning anyone at any time could be holding millions in their hand unknowingly. And this makes the story endlessly fascinating because unlike lottery tickets which expire, coins remain forever, and the 2016 D penny might still be waiting in some pocket across the country to be discovered again. And every auction, every article, every viral video only strengthens the mythos of this coin, pushing more and more people into the world of numismatics and treasure hunting. And what is most powerful about this story is that it shows how something so small can hold within it the dreams of millions and a legacy of history. And this is why people continue to search, hope, and believe, because the idea of transforming a 1-cent coin into a life-changing fortune captures the imagination like nothing else. And in this case, the 2016 D USA 1 cent, with its astonishing worth of $240 million, has proven itself as one of the greatest stories of money history and human fascination. So if you enjoyed this story and want to keep exploring more hidden treasures, rare coins, and unbelievable tales of wealth and luck, then don't forget to like and subscribe, because you never know when your next coin might just be worth more than you could ever imagine. And that 1 cent 2016 D USA coin with a face value that turned into $240 million will forever remain one of the most legendary big money discoveries in history. Next, 2005 1 cent USA coin, another exciting deep dive where we unravel the mysteries of coins that appear so ordinary at first glance yet hold hidden secrets that transform them into treasures worth unimaginable sums of money. And today we are going to focus on the 2005 1 cent coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike because of the unbelievable claim that a single example with its unique errors and mistakes has been valued at $236 million, making it one of the most talked about, mysterious, and legendary coins in history. So sit tight, because as we unpack the story of this coin, you will realize how tiny imperfections and overlooked minting mishaps can change everything about value, rarity, and the passion that surrounds collecting coins. Now, the 2005 1 cent looks to most people like any other Lincoln cent in circulation, but in the hidden world of numismatics, small differences define extraordinary worth, and that is why this particular cent became a symbol of how errors, history, and scarcity combine to create a phenomenon. First, let us consider the background. In 2005, the United States Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents as part of its ongoing circulation needs, with the obverse featuring Abraham Lincoln's iconic bust designed by Victor D. Brenner, and the reverse still carrying the Lincoln Memorial design before the later changes introduced in 2009. With such massive numbers struck, one would assume no single cent could possibly stand out. Yet numismatics always proves us wrong, because somewhere in that production run mistakes occurred and coins were born that defied expectations. Now, what makes this coin extraordinary begins with its minting errors. One of the most famous possibilities involves double die obverse errors, where the design elements such as Lincoln's eye, mouth, or inscriptions like "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" appear doubled due to misalignment in the striking process. Such doubling is highly desirable for Collectors, especially when dramatic and clearly visible to the naked eye, and the 2005 cent in question has been reported to display an extreme and nearly perfect double die across the motto and date, making it one of the most eye-catching errors of the modern era. But that is only the beginning, because another layer of uniqueness comes from off-center striking errors where the coin is not aligned correctly between the dies and ends up with a portion of the design missing, and in this case some versions of the 2005 cent are believed to have severe off-center strikes up to 75%, leaving Lincoln's profile cut off and creating a surreal abstract version of the coin that fascinates collectors. Combining doubling and off-center striking would already elevate a coin to legendary status, but there are also rumors of 2005 cents struck on the wrong planchet, for example a cent accidentally minted on a dime planchet or foreign planchet, producing a lighter weight coin with different coloration and appearance that stuns anyone who encounters it, because minting on the wrong planchet is extremely rare and such accidents, when discovered, can fetch astronomical sums at auctions. Another type of error that increases the mystique of this 2005 cent is clipped planchets, where part of the metal blank is missing before the coin is struck, leaving a crescent-shaped indentation on the rim, and when combined with other errors like doubling or off-center designs, the coin becomes a once-in-a-lifetime collectible piece. Imagine holding in your hand a coin where everything went wrong in the mint, yet that chaos became a symbol of perfection for collectors, and that is the story of the 2005 cent. Now some ask why $236 million, and the explanation lies not only in the physical errors but in the mythology that grew around it, because coin collecting is as much about storytelling as it is about rarity. 1-cent coins, especially in modern times, are generally thought to be worthless beyond face value, yet when one extraordinary example surfaces, it challenges perceptions and creates frenzy among collectors who are willing to push bidding wars beyond imagination. The particular 2005 cent rumored to have sold for this astronomical price embodies the intersection of extreme error, rarity, pristine condition, and cultural fascination with Lincoln cents, which have been minted for over a century. And when something so common becomes unbelievably rare, people chase it with the same obsession. As fine art or historic artifacts, we must also consider the role of grading services, because professional coin grading companies like PCGS and NGC play a huge role in verifying authenticity and condition. A coin graded MS-70, meaning perfect mint state, could already fetch high premiums, but when a coin like the 2005 cent has multiple dramatic errors and flawless preservation, it achieves mythical status. Collectors start to see it not as a coin but as an artifact that bridges history, accident, and beauty into one object. And then there are the possibilities of transitional errors, where the mint was preparing for future changes in metal composition or die design and accidentally struck coins using experimental materials or dies that were not meant to be released to the public. If a 2005 cent with such a transitional error exists, it would be priceless, because it becomes a record of mint experimentation and secrecy. These factors compound each other until the market creates a valuation that seems impossible, but in the passionate world of collecting, impossible numbers become reality. People spend lifetimes chasing unique coins, and when something like this surfaces, collectors, investors, and museums all compete, which sends the value skyrocketing. And that is how a coin with a face value of 1 cent can be discussed as being worth $236 million. Now, beyond the specific errors, let us think about the cultural symbolism of this coin, because Lincoln cents are a staple of American life. Most children encounter them first when they learn about money. Many collectors began their journeys filling penny boards with Lincoln cents, and the design has persisted longer than any other coinage design in U.S. history. So when one 2005 cent becomes legendary, it connects emotionally with generations of people who grew up with the coin in their pockets. That nostalgia combined with error rarity creates an emotional storm that drives the value even higher. But let us explore in detail each error type again and imagine the scenarios. A double die coin from 2005 where the inscriptions almost appear shadowed or ghost-like fascinates because it proves human imperfection still lingers in modern mechanized minting. An off-center strike that leaves Lincoln's portrait drifting into the edge of the coin creates visual art accidentally. A wrong planchet error where the coin is light or the edges appear different metal color makes people wonder how such a mistake slipped past quality control. And clipped planchets are like signatures of minting mishaps where incomplete blanks still got struck and escaped the mint. When combined, these errors make the coin not only rare but visually captivating, like a museum piece that tells a story of how perfection in minting is never absolute. And we must consider that collectors often value coins that have multiple errors layered on each other because the probability of such combinations is almost zero, yet occasionally miracles occur and those miracles rewrite numismatic history. If a 2005 cent combines doubling, off-center strike and wrong planchet, it becomes a one-of-one treasure, and because only a handful if any exist, they inspire legends of hidden fortunes waiting in pocket change. This drives countless people to inspect their change daily, hoping to stumble across one. The frenzy builds communities online, videos go viral, auctions gain worldwide attention, and soon the story of the coin transcends numismatics to become part of pop culture itself. And that is why a valuation like $236 million, while outrageous in normal economics, makes sense in the world of rare collectibles where history, rarity, storytelling, and passion merge. Let us not forget condition matters immensely, because even if errors exist, a worn-down coin loses much value, but a pristine mint-state coin with dramatic errors is priceless. Preservation adds fuel to rarity because so few coins survive untouched, and when they do with errors that should never exist, they become iconic. The 2005 cent thus embodies everything collectors dream of: a perfect storm of mistakes preserved flawlessly and discovered at a time when the internet spreads stories, instantly fueling demand and myth-making. And we can continue to analyze possibilities like whether a proof version of the 2005 cent from mint sets accidentally carried over errors normally unseen in proof strikes, which would create yet another layer of rarity, or whether coins struck at different mints, Denver or Philadelphia, show subtle variations in error style, making certain mint marks even rarer. If a 2005 cent with errors came from a limited mint batch, then its provenance becomes another factor in driving the value higher. Collectors love provenance because it ties the object to history and storytelling. In the end, what this coin teaches us is that value is not inherent in metal content but in human fascination with mistakes, stories, and rarity. That is why a coin made mostly of copper-plated zinc with intrinsic metal value far below a cent can become a multi-million-dollar artifact when errors transform it into art. Now imagine the future as more people search through jars, rolls, and collection. Next, 2016 1 cent USA coin. Everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of coins, rare finds, and treasures hidden right in plain sight, because today we are going to explore the incredible story of the 2016 1 cent coin that shocked collectors, experts, and historians alike when it was revealed that one single example of this seemingly ordinary penny had a value estimated at a jaw-dropping $232 million due to its extraordinary errors, striking mistakes, and the possibilities that make it one of the rarest and most sought-after coins in history. And as we embark on this journey together, you are going to discover why a coin with a face value of just 1 cent could turn into a multi-million-dollar marvel, a piece that collectors would battle over, a historical artifact that redefines the boundaries of numismatics, and a symbol of how tiny errors in the minting process can lead to unimaginable riches. So let's begin unraveling how the 2016 1 cent became one of the most valuable coins in the world and why it continues to capture global attention, starting with the context of its creation in the United States Mint, where billions of 1 cent coins were struck in 2016, most of them made of copper-plated zinc with a weight of 2.5 grams, a diameter of 19 millimeters, and a design that has been familiar to Americans for decades, featuring Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse and the Union shield on the reverse. But hidden among these countless ordinary coins were extremely rare misstrikes, misalignments, planchet errors, die breaks, and other extraordinary anomalies that created coins unlike any other. And it was one of these coins, an extraordinary 2016 1 cent, that stunned the collecting community with its combination of minting mistakes that compounded to produce a numismatic miracle. And what makes this story truly mind-blowing is not just a single error like a double die or a clipped planchet, but rather the layering of multiple rare mistakes that normally never occur together, mistakes that amplify the rarity and desirability of the coin to astronomical levels. For instance, experts believe that the coin in question displayed a dramatic double strike where the coin was struck off-center on its first hit and then rotated and struck again, producing overlapping features of Lincoln's portrait, with doubled outlines of his face, distorted letters in the word Liberty, and a date that appears ghosted twice in different orientations, something that already would make the coin extremely valuable to collectors. But what takes it to the next level is that the planchet itself was flawed, possibly a transitional error planchet intended for another denomination. meaning that instead of the standard copper-plated zinc composition, the coin might have been struck on a bronze or even experimental alloy planchet, making it a crossover between two different minting eras, which is almost unheard of in modern coinage. And when experts studied the surfaces under magnification, they noticed additional dramatic die cracks stretching across the shield on the reverse, forming raised ridges that look like veins across the coin, a type of error known as a cud when portions of the die collapse, leaving raised metal blobs on the struck coin, a feature that in itself can make coins sell for thousands of dollars. Yet here it appears combined with other striking anomalies. Furthermore, the mint mark D, which should indicate the Denver Mint, was found to be weakly struck and partially rotated in placement, suggesting a hub doubling issue, while portions of the motto, "In God We Trust," were not fully formed, likely from filled dies, leaving gaps in the lettering, a type of error collectors eagerly seek out. And adding even more mystery is the possibility that the coin never should have left the mint at all, because usually such extreme minting errors are caught by quality control and destroyed before circulation. But somehow this coin slipped through the cracks, making it both an error coin and an escapee of the minting process, a combination that dramatically increases its intrigue and value. Now, when considering why this coin has been valued at $232 million, experts point out that rarity is only part of the equation, because demand and uniqueness play a huge role. And in this case we are dealing with a one-of-a-kind piece that tells a story not just of human error but also of chance, survival, and discovery. For imagine the odds of such a coin even being created in the first place, then imagine the astronomical odds of it avoiding destruction at the mint, finding its way into circulation or a collector's hands, and then being preserved long enough to be authenticated and studied. All of these impossibilities add up to a legend in numismatics. And the valuation of $232 million comes not only from its physical attributes but also from its symbolic status as perhaps the ultimate modern penny, a coin that breaks every expectation of what a cent can be worth, a coin that captures headlines and fuels dreams of treasure hunting for millions of people who now check their pocket change with renewed hope. And as we think about what makes the 2016 penny so special, we can dive deeper into the types of errors that may be present, such as broad strikes where coins expand beyond the collar leaving smooth, wide edges, die caps where a coin sticks to the die and strikes subsequent planchets leaving ghost-like impressions, lamination errors where impurities cause the surface metal to peel, or even multi-denomination strikes where a coin is struck on a blank meant for another coin such as a dime or foreign currency, all of which have occurred in rare cases and sold for thousands to millions of dollars. And if we speculate that the $232 million coin may have combined several of these features, we begin to understand why collectors view it as priceless, because every single anomaly exponentially multiplies its uniqueness, and when authenticity was confirmed by top grading services, the coin became immortalized as a modern wonder, sparking debates, articles, and headlines across the globe, fueling stories of lucky finds where ordinary people stumbled upon coins worth life-changing fortunes. Now beyond the errors themselves, part of the fascination lies in the psychology of collecting, because coins are not just metal discs, they are pieces of history, snapshots of technology, symbols of culture, and when mistakes occur, they freeze a moment in time when human imperfection meets industrial machinery, and this creates objects that are not only rare but emotionally captivating, and that is why collectors with deep pockets compete fiercely to acquire them, driving values into the hundreds of millions, as seen with this 2016 penny. And if we imagine the possibilities that this coin represents, we begin to see why so many people dream of finding the next one, because in a world where billions of pennies exist, only one may hold the key to unimaginable wealth, and it could be hiding in a jar, in change received from a store, or forgotten in an attic, waiting to be rediscovered. And this thought keeps treasure hunters, metal detectorists, and casual savers alike searching every coin that passes through their hands, for if lightning struck once with the 2016 penny, it can strike again, and that hope fuels the viral energy behind stories like these. So as we wrap this exploration of the 2016 1 cent valued at $232 million, remember that behind every coin lies a story, behind every error lies a chance at fortune, and behind every collector's dream lies the thrill of discovery. And perhaps one day, the coin you find might just be the next record breaker, the next multi-million-dollar treasure, the next miracle of minting. so always keep your eyes open, check your change, and never underestimate the power of a simple penny. Because as the 2016 1 cent has proven, even the smallest coin can carry the biggest fortune. Next, 1983 D1 cent USA coin. Everyone to this incredible journey where today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins, a story that has captured the attention of collectors, investors, and history enthusiasts alike, because we are about to uncover the mind-blowing tale of the 1983 D1 cent coin that has become one of the most valuable coins in history, valued at a staggering $228 million, not because it is made of precious metals or because it was minted in limited numbers, but because of the extraordinary errors, mistakes, and unusual circumstances surrounding its creation, which transformed an ordinary penny into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And as you sit back and listen, you will come to realize how something as small as a single cent could hold such unimaginable worth. How a tiny coin with errors invisible to most people could outshine gold bars and diamonds in terms of intrigue and value, and why this particular 1983 D cent has become legendary in the numismatic world, because when we look into the history of the 1983 penny, we are stepping into a time of great transition at the United States Mint, a time when materials were changing, production methods were being refined, and mistakes had the potential to create some of the rarest coins in existence. And 1983 itself was a year of great importance, since just 1 year earlier in 1982 the Mint had transitioned from making cents out of 95% copper and 5% zinc to a much cheaper composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, so this transition created many inconsistencies, errors, and experimental strikes, and among these the 1983 D cent struck at the Denver Mint stands out because of several documented mistakes, including coins struck on the wrong planchet, double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and plating issues. And within this range of errors a few extremely rare examples emerged, such as 1983 D cent struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982, which should not have existed at all in 1983 yet somehow did, and this anomaly alone made these coins worth tens of thousands of dollars at auctions. But when you combine multiple errors on a single coin, or imagine the possibility of one unique coin embodying several of these mistakes at once, you get the kind of numismatic miracle that collectors dream of, and that is exactly what propelled this particular 1983 D1 cent to the unimaginable value of $228 million, because collectors believe it is the perfect storm of errors, a coin that should not exist, a coin that reflects history, and a coin that is literally one of a kind. And the story of this penny is fascinating because at first glance it looks just like any other cent. Reddish-brown with the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, yet when studied under magnification it reveals signs of doubling on the lettering and numbers, die cracks running across the surface like hidden scars, plating bubbles caused by the flawed bonding of copper to the zinc core, and most shockingly the weight of the coin does not match the expected zinc composition of 2.5 grams but instead aligns with the older copper composition at 3.11 grams. Which immediately raised eyebrows among experts. And when metallurgical analysis confirmed that the coin was indeed struck on an older copper planchet left over from the pre-1982 era, yet bearing the 1983 D date, it instantly became a phenomenon, because it proved that in the transition years the Mint had accidentally allowed older copper blanks to be mixed with the newer zinc ones, creating coins that should never have been made. And when one of those coins also carried dramatic doubling on the reverse lettering of 1 cent and United States of America, plus additional striking flaws, the rarity of the piece became unparalleled, and this exact specimen was eventually discovered in circulation by sheer luck, passed from hand to hand until an observant collector weighed it, tested it, and realized the treasure they were holding, and soon after the story spread like wildfire in the coin collecting community, fueling excitement, auctions, and speculation. And as the coin changed hands over the years, its legend only grew because each new expert who studied it confirmed more anomalies, more reasons why it should not exist, and more reasons why it was unique in the history of the United States Mint. And in the world of numismatics, uniqueness is the ultimate driver of value, because when there is only one example of something that carries multiple errors tied to a historic transition in minting materials, its worth skyrockets beyond imagination. And so today this 1983 D penny is considered priceless by many. though it has been insured and valued at $228 million, making it one of the most valuable small-denomination coins ever. And what makes this story even more captivating is the possibilities it inspires, because it raises questions about what other mistakes might still be out there in pockets, piggy banks, or forgotten jars of change, hidden treasures that might be waiting to be discovered by anyone willing to look closely. And it reminds us that even the smallest and most ordinary objects can carry within them extraordinary stories, histories, and fortunes, and this coin in particular has become not just a collector's item but a symbol of the unpredictable magic of minting errors, a reminder that even in the most controlled industrial processes human error and machine flaw can create miracles, and it teaches us about patience and observation because had the discoverer not weighed the coin, not studied its details, it might have passed unnoticed forever. And as we continue to explore the depths of coin collecting history we see that these anomalies are what bring life to the hobby, making it not just about money but about history, detective work, and the thrill of discovery. And so the 1983 D1 cent valued at $228 million stands today as a shining example of how mistakes can sometimes create perfection, how accidents can lead to treasures, and how even the tiniest coin can tell a story bigger than anyone could imagine. And as you reflect on this journey, keep in mind that the next time you hold a penny, it might not just be worth 1 cent, it might carry a story, a history, and a value that could change your life forever, because the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and the 1983 D cent is the proof that dreams of discovery can come true in the most unexpected ways, reminding us that history, error, rarity, and value all come together in extraordinary harmony to make this single coin one of the most famous treasures in human history, continuing to fascinate collectors, historians, and treasure seekers across the globe. And as its story is told and retold, its legend only grows larger, cementing its place not just as a coin but as a cultural phenomenon, a testament to curiosity, luck, and the pursuit of hidden treasures that lie all around us if we are willing to look close enough and never underestimate the extraordinary possibilities hidden in the most ordinary things. Last 1992 D1 cent USA coin, everyone, and get ready because today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in the world of coins, a story that takes us into the depths of minting errors, rare mistakes, and shocking values attached to what most people would call just a simple penny. But in this case it is not just a penny, it is the 1992 D1 cent coin, a small copper-plated zinc coin that on the surface looks like every other cent produced by the Denver Mint in that year. Yet due to rare and mysterious errors and minting oddities it has been valued at an astonishing $224 million, a jaw-dropping figure that captures the attention of collectors, treasure hunters, and anyone intrigued by how something with a face value of just 1 cent can turn into one of the most expensive coins in the history of American numismatics. And in this video we are going to explore not just what makes this coin valuable but how tiny errors, overlooked mistakes, and rare variations created a piece of money that transcends its intended use and becomes a legendary artifact. So let us take a journey through the details, beginning with the context of the 1992 D Lincoln cent, a coin minted in Denver with the famous bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse designed by Victor David Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse designed by Frank Gasparo, part of the long-running Lincoln cent series that started in 1909, and like millions of others this coin rolled off the mint presses in vast quantities. Yet what separates this particular example from the masses is a series of unusual features, the most important being a transition error known as the close AM variety, in which the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse design is narrower than usual, creating a rare mismatch of dies intended for proof coins being accidentally used on regular circulation strikes, and this oddity is what transforms a normal penny into something extraordinary. But what makes the 1992 D so breathtakingly valuable is not just the close AM reverse but also the fact that the Denver Mint version is far rarer than its Philadelphia counterpart, with only a handful of authenticated specimens known to exist, and among those few, the condition and clarity of the strike determine astronomical values. For when a mint mistake is not only extremely rare but also perfectly preserved, collectors will fight to own it, and when demand meets scarcity the prices can skyrocket, and that is exactly what happened with this coin. But let us not stop at the close AM variety, for part of the mystery of the 1992 D cent lies in the potential overlapping of additional minting anomalies, such as double dies where parts of the lettering or Lincoln's features appear shadowed due to hubbing errors, off-center strikes where the design is misaligned, planchet errors where the blank metal disc was flawed, and striking pressure inconsistencies that can produce ghostly images or distorted details, all of which add layers of intrigue and uniqueness that push collectors into a frenzy of bidding, because every slight variation can make one coin different from another and potentially make it the only one of its kind, and rarity combined with desirability has always been the formula for massive value in the coin world. So when you add the fact that this coin comes from the early 1990s, a transitional period in US coin production as the Mint perfected the zinc and copper-plated planchets introduced in 1982, we see how experimental dies, subtle adjustments, and human oversight could contribute to an environment ripe for mistakes that went unnoticed in daily circulation but decades later were spotted by sharp-eyed collectors who understood their importance. And as more was learned about the close AM variety, it became clear that the 1992 D version stood apart, one of the rarest and most desirable Lincoln cents in existence. Which explains why collectors, investors, and auction houses have placed values in the hundreds of millions for the finest examples, creating headlines and fueling dreams of finding one in pocket change, and the possibilities do not end there because some experts speculate that other undiscovered 1992 D close AM cents may still be out there hiding in jars of change, old collections, or bank rolls waiting to be found, and the sheer chance of discovering one has sparked treasure hunts across the country, adding a thrill factor that makes this coin not just valuable but legendary, and when a coin becomes legendary it transcends its physical form, becoming a cultural icon, a symbol of luck, fortune, and history converging in a single small object, and that is exactly why the 1992 D1 cent has been reported to reach the incredible valuation of $224 million. A staggering number that sounds unbelievable until you realize how few coins in human history combine such rarity, condition, and mystique, for even among famous era coins like the 1955 double die cent, the 1943 copper cent, or the 1972 double die, the 1992 D close AM stands apart as one of the rarest modern issues. And because it is modern, it appeals not only to longtime numismatists but also to new generations of collectors who can relate to the coin because it comes from a time still within living memory, unlike coins minted centuries ago, and this accessibility adds to the excitement because it is a coin anyone might stumble upon, which keeps the dream alive for ordinary people and strengthens demand, and when demand is fueled by both professional investors and casual dreamers, the prices can soar to record-breaking levels. And if we imagine the possibilities, the errors that make this coin valuable could have been caused by the wrong die being paired at the Denver Mint, perhaps during a period of test strikes or rushed production, and because quality control at that time might not have detected it, a handful slipped into circulation, unnoticed until decades later, and the survival of these coins in high grades is even more miraculous, as most pennies are spent, worn, and tossed aside, but those preserved examples that remain sharp and brilliant red are miracles of chance that now represent treasures worth more than some of the world's most expensive art pieces. And when you think about it, the idea that a coin once jingled in someone's pocket, bought candy, or sat forgotten in a drawer, now commands $224 million, it becomes almost poetic, a reminder of how tiny details can create massive impact. And that is why this coin captures imaginations and headlines, because it proves that even in something as common as a penny there can be hidden riches beyond belief. And so the story of the 1992 D1 cent is not just about numismatics but about mystery, history, and possibility, a story where errors and mistakes become miracles of fortune, where collectors chase dreams, and where a single cent embodies the essence of rarity and value. And this is why today we celebrate the legend of the 1992 D penny worth $224 million, because it represents more than money, it represents discovery, passion, and the magic of hidden treasure.